Going live with Jungle Boot Sergeant. It's philosophy time, and today we're going to be giving, this is my first lecture. I'm going to break it down into 3 parts, and we're going to make it real short and sweet and real easy. And I can hope that you gain from this and it help you in your pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, and truth. You feel me? Okay, let me say this, and as part of my philosophy, this is something that I like to do. This is not who I am, okay? Because I am a multi-dimensional being having a human experience that we call reality. You know what I'm saying? So when I do acknowledge the human part of this existence, I do so as a philosopher at times, okay? So now that we got that out the way, let me give you a brief analogy, and this is just serve for easier understanding of the message later when it get a little bit deep, and the waters get a little bit deep. And I want to say that, as a philosopher, of course, we like to talk about God and the universe, or this phenomenon called God concepts, the universe, nature, and as well as problems, problem solving. So, just like I say, just for a little easy little anecdote so that you can understand what we're going to talk about later. Let's say, for example, that me and you was chilling, and during the course of conversation, I discovered, or you told me that you was an expert chef, master chef. And I was like, yeah, wow, okay, well, of course now I'm hungry, I want to get something to eat, so we go to your house and you commence to showing me your skills. So I'm waiting, and then when you bring the food out, you brought a hamburger, you brought some nachos, brought some barbecue, and some Frito pie. And man, but let me tell you what though, it was so good, it was delicious. I was hungry anyway, I was gonna eat, it was good. It was so good that I might be inclined to say that you was a subject matter expert. That's how proficient your cooking skills was in American cuisines. Okay? Because, so I'm still, being that you told me you was a master chef, I was expecting to see some of the shit that be on the cooking channel. That's what came to my mind, thinking that that's how, you had some exotic type skills. So anyway, I kind of asked you about it, but the food was good, so I don't want to be disrespectful, So I said, hey, just American food today? And you was like, you look at me and you like, yeah, that's all it is. I told you I was an expert, chef. That's all. That's the only thing worth cooking. And like I'm in your house, I'm gonna respect you in your house, and I'm gonna respect the guy. But when I get to the car, I'm gonna maybe raise a few eyebrows at you. I'm gonna look at him and be like, man, I don't know what his head going on today, but he's on one because. As far as cooking goes, I know cooking is a very vast and very broad subject. There's many different forms of cooking, many different ways to prepare food. You got Lebanese food, I done had Creole food, I done had soul food, I done had, Jamaican food, Chinese food, all kind of different food. So just to have one of them foods now, I'm going to be forced to have to say that you have more ignorance than you do knowledge of the total subject. Even though your knowledge of the one subject is bad, the subject matter expert level, like, you still have more ignorance than you do knowledge of the total subject as far as cooking is concerned. Okay? And I think everyone can agree to that. I don't think nobody would have a real big problem saying that that's true or not. So now that you got that part down, let's go ahead and jump to part 2. Okay, part 2, we back, part 2. So let's make it relevant to you, make it relevant to your daily life. When you go to church on Sundays, you're a Christian, the Christian religion, whatever denomination or the branch of that religion. and the preacher says some things to you, or tell you how to live your life, how you should live your life according to this.
If you're tired of the devil destroying your life, you must order the personal package, and you got to order it right now.
Book or this theology, and the preacher is very charismatic. He has great oratory skills, and he seems to know what he's talking about. And he's, like I said, he's very charismatic. He believes what he's actually saying, you know. And I mean, we might go so far as to say that this man is a subject matter expert in Christianity.
It's 8 o'clock.
Okay. But even though this man might know everything there is to know about Christianity, which he don't, even if he did, I'm still going to be forced to say that he has more ignorance than he does knowledge on the total subject of God, of this thing that we call God. You know what I'm saying? So and that's very important, because the God concept is very important in your life, to a lot of people's life. So if you want to be closer to this thing, to the God concept, I think it would be very wise for you not to just settle for one perspective.
The God
Hallelujah.
is causing those powers to be destroyed.
Because then, you're initially doing the same thing as the guy in the example with the American food, and we see how it don't make sense in that respect. So why would it make sense in your respect to God and religion? To deny, there's a lot of different forms of approaching God. Some people do it in Islam, some people call it Buddhism, some people are spiritual people. So if you have any true sense of really wanting to understand the subject of God or God concepts, if you really want to have some understanding of that, then it would be wise for you to look at some different perspectives. Because if you're going to just settle for one perspective, then we have to say that you have more ignorance than you do knowledge of the subject. And then when you get to the point where you don't want to learn new things, then you're trading into some real dangerous things, because then you're showing some signs of fanaticism. Because now you done close your brain off to new possibilities to learning and processing and analyzing new information. So, and I know some people are cool with being fanatics about JC and Jesus and everything. If that's your thing, I can accept that about you. But we can't really appreciate an intelligent conversation with you. Okay, this probably not for you. You probably want to push your thumb down on your YouTube right now. It just probably don't even make no sense to you. Okay, so like I said again, we're talking about perspective. So from that, what you want to start doing is you want to start looking at the study of history and start studying it and evaluating it and understanding some things about history, because it could be a little tricky. History, his story. So it's all about perspective. When we study history, mostly we're getting a European perspective. So that's already a red flag. You know what I'm saying? There was one white man that said history is a set of laws agreed upon. That's another red flag, because sometimes we're dealing with faulty information. So nowadays we are privileged enough to have a video camera in a lot of situations, because history is about seeking the butt naked truth, seeking what really happened. And today, we have situations, and people say it's two sides to every story. I say it's three sides to every story. It might be your version of the story, my version of the story, and then it's the butt naked truth. And the butt naked truth often come in the forms of a video camera these days. Somebody got their video camera, pull it out. But even the video camera could do some cool stuff on these days. But most of the time, the butt naked truth is the video camera. So when you study in history, that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to look for this butt naked truth without the video camera. We don't have that. So the only thing we have is we have a lot of perspectives. And we have to evaluate all these perspectives to come up with a logical view of what happened. Okay? So if you have any interest in saying that you want to understand the truth, but there are perspectives that you refuse to look at, analyze, and study, then you need to you must admit to the gaps in your understanding, because there's perspectives that you have just thrown away. So we're gonna go right on to part three. Part three is about a perspective of the Christian religion that Pastor won't teach you about. We're gonna learn about it today. Part three, already talking about history. Once again, we understand the perils and the dangers of studying history, because you can only study stuff that you agree with. And when you do that, that's called confirmation bias. You know, you're not being a scholar when you do that, when you only study stuff that you only agree with, because you're losing valuable perspectives. Okay, so let's talk about this event in the Christian history. Okay, so at the Council of Nicaea, something that's in the encyclopedia with common knowledge, we can look up and see that there's a conspiracy that takes place. At the beginning, at the formulation of the Christian religion, we found a conspiracy. And this is important because 2,000 years later, lost in translation, a lot of people will tell you Jesus is real.
What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Very real. The pastor would tell you how real Jesus is and this and that. But the thing about it is, at the beginning of the religion, it was a conspiracy. Right? And this is in the encyclopedia. And the encyclopedia says that one man, we call this man what we call a whistleblower today. When somebody blow the whistle, somebody see a lot of foolishness going on, and they say, hey, look, I can't take a part of this. I don't care what happened to me. I'm going to put the truth out. Okay? And we got a man named Arius of Libya who stands up and says, hey, look, this dude Jesus that y'all talking about, hey, man, he can be as cool as y'all want him to be, man. Cool fella, man. Real cool fella. But he's not real. He never existed in no type of human way. And you had other groups of people who were saying very different things about JC. Some people said he wasn't born a man, he was born a God. He became a God after, or he was born a man. Some people said he had no human nature. It was nothing for sure known about this guy. And in fact, Arius was saying his real name is Serapis Christus. And we know Serapis Christus was created. That's also in the encyclopedia that they write. So you can't be, I ain't say this, they put this in their book. Okay? So at this beginning of the Christian religion, you got somebody, a whistleblower, that say, Jesus ain't right. Then this man is assassinated. Okay? And then after he is assassinated, what we find is Constantine left words behind that say if anybody got any of his writings or any of his ideas and they don't put them to the flame, then that person's going to be put to death. Okay? So that's a cover-up. So let's put it all together. At the beginning of the Christian religion, we got a whistleblower, an assassination, a cover-up. Okay? And so, in essence, what this means is we have perspectives that are unavailable to us now. So we can't get to the butt naked truth. We just accepting the perspective that someone has told us was real without evaluating other perspectives at the time. See what I'm saying? So it's a very dangerous thing. And this is just one incident that we find in the encyclopedia. Just one. So it's very important. I think that this information is life-changing information because it should make you reevaluate some things. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of brothers like to argue, hey man, this is a discussion, man. This is not a debate. A lot of the Hebrew brothers, I love them. They like to, argue and this and that. And it's all good because we can sharpen each other and grow from it. But this is not a debate, man. Okay, this is a discussion. In order to have a debate, you have to have facts, you have to have some evidences, you have to have something that you can prove, precedents, something like that along to that nature. You can't just say, hey, this is stuff true because the Bible says it's true. That's called circular reasoning, and it's not allowed in debating circles. So you wouldn't even be able to come to the debate and take it with it. They'd kick you out. Okay? So, again, this is just a real quick little 3-part lecture I just wanted to bring to you. Just for people who have an interest in seeking the truth and searching for these deeper things and deeper meanings in your life and how, these things affect us. I just want to bring it to you, knowledge, wisdom, and truth.
So, if this message has been a blessing to you, please feel free to send to this ministry. But I ain't got no church right now, so I tell you what, don't mail nothing, just call me.